Voeschonon for Beginners and for children. This week's Parsha we learn about Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Hashem is our God, Hashem is one, and then we say V'avta. The idea is that through contemplating and understanding that Hashem is our God, Hashem is one, we'll come to love Hashem. It seems to be plenty of people saying Shema Yisrael many times and they don't come to Avos Hashem from that. Also, we have to understand, we're saying Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Why are we saying it twice? Why can't we just say Hashem Elokeinu Echad? And the concept is that there's two different types of life force. By a person, we look at the body the Eibusha created, which is corresponding to the big world. In our body, we have parts that gives energy and life force. We have the heart and the lungs that give in the life force to all the body. And then we have the lower parts, which take the food, they process it, they take from the better part and they send it to the heart, and then the heart distributes the blood throughout the body. So in between those two parts, there's a membrane, which corresponds that there's higher parts and there's low parts that needs to be thrown later on to the waste, and certain parts that goes up and distributed to the body is the life force. That symbolizes in a higher realm in a person, life force that goes to speech, or life force that goes to the mind. There's obviously the life force that goes to the brain to give it life, etc., is much greater than the life force that goes to only speaking. Similar to that, in godliness, you also have these two levels. One level is godly force that makes everything exist. That godly force that makes everything exist is obviously much lower than the godly force of godliness itself. Now, the Yidden are called Olu B'machshava, Yisrael Olu B'machshava. The Yidden, so to say, are connected the same thing as a person connected to his own mind. The creation of the world, it says, Beruach Piv Kol Tzevam. The Eibusha created all the world, and even the angels and all the spiritual creations are created, so to say, with the Eibusha's wind, with the Eibusha's speech. Obviously, the life force that goes to speech is much lower than the life force that goes to the mind. The Yidden are called Olav Shava, that they're connected with, so to say, with the brain of the Eibishter, which means that they're connected to Hashem Himself. It mentions that on the first day Hashem was one. And it says Yom Echad, because the Eibishter was alone. There's no other existence, no other creations that have a understanding besides the day Eibishter. And the second day, Malachim was created. And that's why it says Yom Echad on the first day. The second day, then there was already Malachim. But the first day, there was no Malachim. There's only the Eibishter. The question is, it says that before the Eibishter created the world, he consulted with Yidden. B'minim loch b'nishmesem shel tzadikim. V'amech kulam tzadikim. With who the Eibishter consulted to create the world or not, with the tzadikim. With the Yidden, all of them are called tzadikim. So the question is, if there was Yidden beforehand, how can we say Yom Echad, the Eibusha is one? The Eibusha, there was one day that there's only the Eibusha, nothing else. There was the Yidden also. And the explanation is that the Yidden are completely one of the Eibusha, just like a person in his mind is completely one. And therefore we're coming and saying that the Yidden, they are connected to Hashem in the way of Yachid, not the way of Echad. In simplicity, to explain the difference in Echad and Yachid, Echad is, we're talking about when there's different parts, then we're saying it's Echad. For example, you're going to come and say that you have a puzzle. It's made out of a bunch of pieces, but it's one picture. But that's nevertheless separate pieces, but they're put together. Yachid means only me. And the truth is, it can only be said in the point of the neshama, which over there is only the neshama and nothing else. The same thing with the Eibishter, where the way we connect to the world is the way of Echad. However, the way he connects to the Yidden is the way of Yachid. There's nothing else but the Eibishter, and because the Yidden are completely one of the Eibishter. Now, when a person contemplates in that, and he realizes that our connection to Hashem is so much greater, we don't want to be wasting to be connected to the physical things. We want to be connected to Eibusha Himself, not to the physical pleasures and to the physical world. But the only way to do it, to go from Shema to Ve'avta in today's day and age, since we are lower neshamas, is through Baruch Shem Kohen Mechus Olam Vod, which is the concept of accepting the Eibishter's yoke as a king. A king, you are serving Hashem as a king, as a servant. That means that we do what Hashem wants, not what we want. In other words, we are forcing ourselves to do things that we want to do, but we're saying, no, we're not going to do it because Hashem doesn't want us to do, and forcing ourselves to do more than we want to do in a positive sense, to learn a little bit more, to help a little bit more, to do more tzedakah, etc. By that we are coming and showing that we are servants to Hashem. And that helps us to be able to come from Shema Yisrael, understanding this concept, to come to V'atas Hashem Lekecha, through, so to say, the bridge of Baruch Shem Kohen Mechus Olam Vod, by us completely giving ourselves as servants to Hashem and following the mitzvahs very carefully, very diligently, and pushing ourselves to do a little bit more. A good Shabbos.